There are moments in life when you feel the weight of the world pressing against your chest. Moments when you lie awake at night wondering how much more your heart can take. Moments when the silence feels louder than any storm you have ever faced. And right now, someone hearing these words is carrying a burden so heavy that even breathing feels like an act of courage. You have fought, you have endured, you have prayed, and yet the struggle has stretched longer than you ever imagined. But listen closely, because this is not a coincidence. You didn't stumble upon this message by accident. Something in your soul is reaching for hope, and God is answering. God knows it's hard. God has seen every step, every tear, every silent prayer you've poured out when no one else was around, and God is about to send help. There are times when we tell ourselves we're strong, but the truth is that even the strongest hearts grow tired. You have tried to convince others that you're fine, but deep down you know you've reached a place where only God can lift you. And that is exactly where miracles begin. God never lets a faithful heart break without sending healing. God never allows a battle to continue without preparing a victory on the other side. The struggle you're facing right now is not proof that God has forgotten you. It is proof that God is working on something greater than you can see. The pressure is a sign of preparation. The waiting is a sign of positioning. The heaviness is a sign that God is shifting things in ways you cannot yet understand. There is someone listening who thinks, I'm tired. I don't know how much more I can take. And God sees that exhaustion. God knows the nights you cried yourself to sleep and told no one. God knows the days you forced yourself to keep going even though everything in you was begging for rest. God knows the moments you questioned your worth, questioned your purpose, questioned your future. Yet through it all, God kept you breathing. God kept you standing. God kept you alive, because your story isn't ending here. The help you've been praying for is already on the way. God is preparing to intervene in a way that will leave you speechless. There is something powerful that happens when a heart reaches the edge of its own strength. When you can no longer rely on your plans, when you can no longer lean on your own understanding, when you have no option but to turn fully toward God, that is when God steps in with a strength that does not break, a wisdom that does not fail, and a power that does not run out. God will never let you walk through fire alone. Even if the flames rise higher, God's protection rises higher still. Even if the road gets rougher, God's hand gets stronger. Even if the storm intensifies, God's presence becomes more evident than ever before. You may not realize it, but right now, God is surrounding you with a shield you cannot see. Doors you didn't even know existed are being prepared for you. People you have not yet met are being positioned to bless you. And the strength you need for the next chapter is being built inside you through the very struggles that feel so overwhelming today. God never wastes pain. God uses it to shape you, strengthen you, refine you, and remind you that your life is held in hands far more capable than your own. Sometimes help doesn't come in the form of immediate escape. Sometimes it comes in the form of inner endurance. God gives you a strength you didn't know you had. God fills you with a peace that doesn't match your circumstances. God whispers to your heart, hold on, I know it's hard. But this hardness is not your ending, it is your preparation. And maybe that's what you need to hear today. You are not failing. You are not falling apart. You are being carried. God is closer than you think. You've been asking, why does life have to be this difficult? Why does my journey feel so heavy? But I want you to consider something. What if the weight you're carrying is not punishment, but preparation? What if the struggle is not a sign of abandonment, but the shaping of someone who is destined for something far greater? God never strengthens a person without purpose. And God never allows you to face difficulty without providing a way through it. You may feel like you're walking through darkness, but God sees the path clearly. You may feel lost, but God knows exactly where you are. You may feel alone, but you are surrounded by a presence that has never left you for a single moment. There is someone listening who feels misunderstood. You've tried to explain your pain to others, but they can't see the depth of what you're carrying. God sees it. God knows it. God understands it in a way no human ever could. You don't have to explain your tears to God. God reads every one of them. You don't have to justify your weakness. God knows how much you've endured. You don't have to pretend to be strong. God already knows the real you. And God loves you through every struggle, every doubt, every broken moment. And right now, God is whispering to your spirit, help is coming. Not the kind of help that fades after a week. Not the kind of help that temporarily lifts your mood. Not the kind of help that leaves you dependent on temporary solutions, but real help, divine help. The kind of help that changes the direction of your life. The kind of help that moves mountains, opens doors, and breaks chains. The kind of help that reminds you that you have never been forgotten, never been overlooked, never been abandoned. Some of the greatest blessings arrive disguised in difficulty. Some of the most powerful breakthroughs come after seasons of deep struggle. And some of the most life-changing moments happen when you reach the lowest point and God lifts you higher than you ever imagined. You may not see the help yet, but it's coming. You may not feel the strength yet, but it's being built. You may not understand the purpose yet, but one day you will look back and say, God was working all along. Maybe you're in a season where everything feels uncertain. You're unsure of what comes next. You're unsure of how you will make it. You're unsure of who you can trust. But let me tell you something with absolute confidence. You can trust God. When everyone else fails, God remains faithful. When everything else shifts, God remains steady. When life feels overwhelming, God remains the calm in the middle of the storm. You don't have to know the whole plan. You just need to trust the one who holds the plan. There is someone who feels like the battle has lasted too long. You're thinking, how much longer will this go on? And God is saying, long enough for me to accomplish what I have planned, but not a moment longer. God does not let storms last forever. God does not allow seasons of pain without an expiration date. And God never lets hardship write the final chapter of your story. What you're facing right now is temporary, but the strength God is building in you will last for years. The lessons you're learning now will carry you for a lifetime. The resilience God is placing in your heart will prepare you for blessings beyond anything you've imagined. Sometimes we think help means everything becoming easy, but real help from God means God strengthens you so deeply that even when life is not easy, you stand firm. God gives you a courage that rises above fear. God gives you a peace that cannot be shaken. God gives you a clarity that cuts through confusion. God gives you a hope that refuses to die. That is the kind of help God is preparing for you. There is someone whose heart is tired because of repeated disappointments. You trusted and it fell apart. You hoped and it didn't happen. You prayed and the answer took longer than you expected. Now you're wondering if this is just how life will be. But I want to speak directly to that wounded place within you. Don't give up. Don't let disappointment convince you that God's promise is not real. Delays are not denials. Waiting is not rejection. And silence is not abandonment. God has not forgotten you. God is not finished with you. God is not ignoring your prayers. Sometimes the answer takes time because God is arranging something far bigger than what you ask for. When the help of God arrives, it never comes one day late. It never comes in the wrong form. It never comes in a way that leaves you confused or further broken. When God sends help, it comes with clarity. It comes with peace. It comes with a sense of divine timing that leaves you in awe of how perfectly everything unfolded. God knows what you need. God knows when you need it. God knows who needs to be involved. God knows which doors must open and which doors must remain closed. And God is working on all of it right now. There are battles you're fighting that no one knows about. There are tears you've cried that no one has seen. There are fears you've carried that no one has understood. But God knows. And not only does God know, God cares. God is not distant from your struggle. God is not indifferent to your pain. God is not watching from afar. God is closer to you in your hardships than during your happiest moments. When your heart breaks, God draws near. When your strength fades, God steps in. When your hope dims, God rekindles it with a spark that darkness cannot extinguish. You may feel like you're running out of strength, but God is not asking you to be strong for the rest of your life. God is asking you to trust Him for today, just this moment, just this next breath. God will give you strength for tomorrow when tomorrow comes. But for now, God is saying, let me carry you through this moment. And that is help. That is divine help. Not always the kind that removes the burden immediately, but the kind that makes sure the burden does not break you. Someone listening feels forgotten. You feel overlooked. You feel unheard. But the truth is, you are seen by the one who created you. God has been watching over your life since the day you were born. God has protected you in moments you never even knew were dangerous. God has blocked attacks you never saw. God has shut doors that would have destroyed you. God has kept people away from you who were not meant to walk with you into your destiny. That was help. You didn't recognize it then. But one day you will look back and realize that God was helping you long before you asked. And now, God is about to help you again, this time in a way that turns your weary heart into a testimony of God's faithfulness. You have been through enough pain. You have cried enough tears. You have fought enough silent battles. God is getting ready to lift you in a way that will restore everything the struggle tried to take from you. God is about to bring people into your life who speak encouragement, who bring peace, who carry compassion. God is about to remove the heaviness from your spirit and replace it with a strength that feels like renewal. God is about to open a door that no amount of opposition will be able to close. But before help arrives, God often allows you to reach a point where you finally release control. That is where transformation begins. That is where the breakthrough starts forming. Not when you're strong and confident, but when you say, God, I'm tired, I need you. That simple, honest admission becomes the place where miracles begin. God responds to humility. God responds to sincerity. God responds to the heart that says, I can't do this on my own. You may think your struggle means you're weak, but it doesn't. It means you're human. And God specializes in lifting the human heart into places of strength that human power cannot reach. God specializes in taking the weary and turning them into warriors. God specializes in taking the broken and turning them into examples of resilience. God specializes in taking what was meant to harm you and using it to strengthen you. You're not alone, not now, not ever. God is walking you through a valley that feels impossible, but the same God who allowed you to enter it will give you the strength to emerge from it stronger than you were before. The same God who watched you cry will be the God who wipes away the tears. The same God who saw your pain will be the God who brings you peace. The same God who knows how hard it's been is the God who is preparing to send help at the perfect moment. Your story is not over. Your strength is not gone. Your hope is not lost. You are being held by a power that does not fail. You are being guided by a wisdom that does not make mistakes. You are being covered by a mercy that never runs out. And very soon you will see with your own eyes that everything you endured was not wasted. Every tear watered the ground for a new beginning. Every struggle shaped you into someone who will be ready for the blessings God is preparing. Every hardship was carving depth, compassion, strength, and resilience into your soul. Right now, heaven is moving on your behalf. Right now, God is aligning things for your next chapter. Right now, help is being released. It may not look like it yet, but it's coming. You may not feel it yet, but it's coming. You may not understand how, but God is already making a way. God has not forgotten you. God has not overlooked you. God has not abandoned you. God knows it's hard, but God is about to send help. There are moments in life when the soul reaches a depth of struggle that words cannot express. Moments when you stand in the middle of your own life and wonder how a single heart can carry so much weight. And yet, even in those moments, when your strength feels drained and your hope feels faint, something inside you still whispers, maybe God hasn't finished with me yet. That whisper is not your imagination. It is God sustaining you when you don't realize you're being held. It is God keeping you upright even when everything inside you feels like collapsing. It is God telling you, I know how heavy this is, but I'm with you and I won't leave you in this place. Help is nearer than you think. You are not walking blindly. You are not fighting alone. You are not surviving on your own strength. God is closer to you than the fear that tries to suffocate you. God is closer than the doubt that tries to discourage you. God is closer than the battle that tries to break you. When life pushes you to the edge, God doesn't tell you to fear the fall. God says, let me lift you so you can see beyond it. The help God sends is not ordinary help. It is the kind that reaches deeper than your pain, stronger than your fear, and higher than your expectations. God is preparing to send you the kind of help that transforms what you thought would destroy you into the very thing that prepares you. Some of the greatest turning points in life begin in the most painful seasons. When everything around you feels uncertain, God uses uncertainty to push you into trust. When people walk away, God uses their absence to draw you closer to Him. When plans fall apart, God uses the broken pieces to build something more meaningful than what you originally pursued. You may be questioning the timing, the pressure, the losses, the setbacks, the delay. But God is not just watching your journey, God is directing it. God is allowing certain doors to remain closed because the path behind them would drain you. God is removing certain people because their presence would hinder your purpose. God is shifting you out of familiar places because comfort can sometimes limit growth. Help from God doesn't always arrive the way you expect. Sometimes God sends help through clarity. Suddenly you see something you used to overlook. You recognize something you used to tolerate. You understand something that confused you for years. That clarity is help. Sometimes God sends help through strength. One morning you wake up and the thing that crushed you yesterday no longer owns your spirit. That strength is help. Sometimes God sends help through stillness. You feel a peace that doesn't match your circumstances. That peace is help. And sometimes God sends help through redirection, by pulling you away from something you thought you needed so He can guide you toward what your soul truly requires. The very fact that you're still standing is a sign that God's hand has been on your life. You survived moments that should have crushed you. You endured storms that should have drowned your hope. You pushed through days when your heart was trembling. You didn't make it this far because of luck. You made it because God carried you. And if God carried you through the storms of yesterday, God will not abandon you in the challenges of today. The same God who held you then is holding you now. The same God who protected you before is protecting you now. The same God who made a way then is about to make a way again. There's a reason your spirit feels stretched. You're being prepared for something that requires more strength than your past demanded. There's a reason your faith feels tested. You're being shaped for a blessing that requires deeper trust. There's a reason certain battles seem relentless. You're being positioned for a breakthrough that will silence those battles once and for all. God doesn't allow pressure without purpose. God doesn't allow struggle without growth. Not one moment of this journey is wasted. Not one tear is meaningless. Not one prayer has gone unheard. Someone listening right now is thinking, I've been waiting so long. Why hasn't the help come yet? But the help of God is never rushed. God knows that a premature blessing can become a burden. God knows that an unprepared heart can mishandle a miracle. God knows that if you receive something before you're ready, you might lose it before it becomes fruitful. So God prepares you not to punish you, but to preserve you. God stretches your patience so your blessing will not overwhelm you. God strengthens your spirit so the weight of your calling will not crush you. God deepens your wisdom so you'll recognize the opportunities He brings. God is not delaying your help. God is perfecting the help. You may feel like life has pushed you into a corner, but God specializes in meeting people in the corners of life. The places where you have no backup, no solution, no clear path forward. The places where the only direction left is up. That is where God releases the greatest help. That is where God shows His power. That is where your story shifts. God steps into the places where humans fail you, where strength fails you, where hope fades, and God breathes new life into you. That breath of strength is preparing you for what's about to unfold. Some of you are carrying wounds that no one knows about. Deep wounds, old wounds, wounds you've tried to ignore because you're afraid they might define you. But God is not just sending help to improve your situation. God is sending help to heal your soul. God knows the layers of pain beneath your silence. God knows the scars you've hidden from the world. God knows the moments you told yourself you were fine when you were breaking inside. And God is saying, I am about to heal what others overlooked. I am about to mend what life has torn. I am about to restore what darkness tried to steal. There is help coming for your mind, so your thoughts stop tormenting you. Help coming for your heart, so your peace returns. Help coming for your household, so conflict gives way to harmony. Help coming for your future, so uncertainty is replaced with confidence. Help coming for your spirit, so weariness gives way to inner strength. Help coming for your path, so confusion becomes clarity. God is sending help that will reach every area of your life that has been under attack. Sometimes the greatest battles occur right before the greatest breakthroughs. Darkness fights hardest before the light breaks through. Pressure increases when a new season is about to begin. The enemy of your soul pushes harder when he knows God is about to lift you higher. That's why the struggle is felt so intense. That's why the nights have been heavy. That's why the weight on your shoulders has felt unbearable. Because something is shifting. Something is coming. Something is aligning. You're not feeling this pressure because God has forgotten you. You're feeling it because God is building you for the next chapter. There will be a day, sooner than you think, when you will look back and realize the help God sent was far greater than the help you asked for. You prayed for relief, but God sent transformation. You prayed for escape, but God sent strength. You prayed for answers, but God sent wisdom. You prayed for restoration, but God sent elevation. That's how God works beyond your expectations, beyond your imagination, beyond your current understanding. And when the help arrives, it will not confuse you. It will not drain you. It will not question your worth. The help God sends will lift you. It will strengthen you. It will align with your spirit. It will bring peace to your heart. It will confirm what your soul has already suspected, that God has been preparing you for this moment all along. God knows it's been hard. God knows you feel tired. God knows you've questioned whether your prayers are making a difference. But God is about to move in your life in a way that leaves no doubt that He hears you, He sees you, and He has been working behind the scenes from the very beginning. You are closer to your breakthrough than you realize. You are standing on the edge of a shift that will rewrite the story of your life. God is about to send help, and when it comes, everything will change. There are seasons in life when the weight on your shoulders is not just physical, not just mental, but spiritual. Seasons where it feels as if every direction you turn leads to another closed door, another delay, another disappointment. And in those moments, it's easy to believe that silence means abandonment. But silence is often the sacred space where God does His most profound work. God is not ignoring you. God is shaping you. God is strengthening the ground beneath your feet so that when the help arrives, you will not collapse under the blessing. God is preparing you to carry what you once only prayed for. What you must understand is this: God sees every detail of your struggle with more clarity than you see the surface of your own reflection. God knows the exact moment your heart began to grow heavy. God knows the exact day your hope began to fade. God knows the exact situation that brought you to your knees. And just as God saw the beginning of your burden, God has already appointed the moment when that burden will break. You may be in the middle of the struggle, but God has already written the ending. And the ending is victory. The ending is strength. The ending is rescue. The ending is divine help that arrives at the exact second your soul needs it most. There is someone listening who has been fighting a battle of identity. You know there is purpose inside you, but doubt keeps pulling you backward. You feel called to something greater, yet unworthy of the calling. But hear this: God does not choose the confident, God strengthens the chosen. God does not look for the perfect, God develops the willing. God does not wait for you to have everything together. God meets you where you are and builds you into who you are meant to be. Your weakness doesn't disqualify you, it positions you for God's strength. Your uncertainty doesn't limit you, it opens the door for God's clarity. Your struggles don't reduce your value, they refine your spirit for what comes next. Help is coming for your confidence. Help is coming for your identity. Help is coming for your sense of purpose. God is going to remind you of who you truly are, not who the world tried to make you believe you are. When God sends help, He not only lifts your circumstances, He lifts your sense of self. He restores your courage. He revives your inner fire. He pulls you out of the shadows of fear and places you back into the light of purpose. You will rise again not because you are strong on your own, but because God is strengthening you from within. Some of you are dealing with a heaviness that comes from betrayal. You trusted someone who mishandled your heart. You opened up to someone who later walked away. You poured into relationships that left you drained. But listen carefully. God sees the wounds that people inflict, and God never lets pain end the story. When people fail you, God uses their absence to redirect your loyalty toward the one who never leaves. When people break your trust, God uses the break to rebuild your spirit on foundations that cannot be shaken. When people exit your life, God begins arranging the entrance of those who are destined to lift you, not harm you. The help God is preparing will heal more than just your circumstances. It will heal your relationships, your expectations, and your heart. There are others who carry a quiet fear of the future. You don't know what tomorrow holds, and the unknown feels overwhelming. But the unknown is not unknown to God. The path you can't see is clear to Him. The door you're afraid to open is one God already knows how to guide you through. The steps you're unsure about are steps God has already prepared. When you trust God, the unknown becomes less frightening because you realize you're not walking into darkness, you're walking into destiny. Help is coming in the form of clarity. God is about to make things plain. God is about to reveal what seemed hidden. God is about to illuminate a path you didn't realize was right in front of you. And let me tell you this with conviction. The help God sends will not only meet your need, it will exceed it. You are not being prepared for average blessings. You are being prepared for divine intervention. God is not shaping you for small breakthroughs. God is shaping you for a shift so significant that you will look back and say, everything I endured was worth it. God is not refining you for temporary relief. God is refining you for long-term transformation. There is a difference between relief and deliverance. Relief helps you breathe again. Deliverance changes your life, and God is preparing deliverance. Some of you have been fighting battles in your mind, thoughts that whisper lies, fears that distort your vision, voices that try to convince you that you're not enough. But hear this. God is about to quiet the storm inside your mind. God is about to silence the voices that don't belong to you. God is about to restore your inner peace. You will wake up with a sense of calm that has no earthly explanation. You will experience moments of stillness that feel like they could only come from above. That is help. Mental peace is help. Emotional stability is help. Inner clarity is help. God is sending all of it. There is also someone who feels that their mistakes have disqualified them from a better future. You think your past is too messy, your decisions too flawed, your journey too tangled to ever see something beautiful come out of it. But God is not defined by your past. God transforms past mistakes into future wisdom. God turns failures into stepping stones. God takes what you regret and reshapes it into something that strengthens you. The help God sends does not bypass your past. It redeems it. It uses it. It turns it into something useful, powerful, and meaningful. The help you've been praying for is not weak help. It is not temporary help. It is not shaky or uncertain help. It is help that comes from the Creator of all things. Help that cannot fail. Help that cannot be stopped. Help that cannot be delayed once the appointed moment arrives. And when that help descends into your life, it will lift you in ways that feel supernatural, because they are. It will open doors you thought were sealed shut. It will restore opportunities you believed were lost forever. It will strengthen you in a way that makes you look back at the person you used to be and say, I didn't even know God was preparing me for this. Your heart is not too broken for God to heal. Your dreams are not too shattered for God to rebuild. Your strength is not too drained for God to restore. Your future is not too uncertain for God to direct. You are not too lost for God to find. You are not too flawed for God to bless. You are not too weary for God to carry. God knows it's hard. God knows the depth of what you're facing. And God is preparing help so powerful, so precise, so timely that when it arrives, you will know without question that it came from Him. You may not see the signs yet, but they are forming. You may not feel the shift yet, but it is happening. You may not understand the timing, but you are living in the final stretch before the breakthrough. The pressure is increasing because the blessing is approaching. The enemy is fighting harder because the help is getting closer. The nights feel longer because the dawn is almost here. And the struggle feels heavier because a new season is about to break open in your life. Hold your ground. Hold your faith. Hold your spirit steady. God is not finished. God is not distant. God is not silent. God is setting the stage for a turnaround so profound that it will touch every corner of your life. And when the help arrives, you will finally understand why the journey was so hard, why the waiting was so long, and why you had to endure what you endured. Because what God is about to send will not just lift you, it will change you. And once it comes, nothing in your life will ever be the same again. There comes a moment in every soul's journey when you can no longer sit quietly in your struggle, when you can no longer pretend that the weight isn't heavy, when you can no longer push through life on automatic. There comes a moment when you must look inward and admit, I need God more than ever. And that moment is not a moment of weakness. It is the moment your strength begins. Because the very instant you turn your heart toward God with full honesty, something powerful happens. God meets you where your strength ends and pours His strength into the space you cannot fill yourself. God steps into the places where your courage trembles and fills those places with a resolve that no trial can shake. So right now, let your heart soften. Let your guard down. Let your resistance fall away. Stop pretending you don't need help. Stop pretending you're fine when your soul is tired. Stop carrying a weight that God never asked you to carry alone. Lift your eyes, lift your voice, lift your spirit, and call on the one who has been waiting to lift you. God is not far. God is not silent. God is not hesitant. God is standing right beside you, ready to breathe strength into your weakness, hope into your fear, and peace into your chaos. But you must make room for Him. You must open your heart. You must choose to trust even when the ground beneath you feels unsteady. Let this be the moment you return your soul to the one who shaped it. Let this be the moment you release the fear that has been gripping your spirit. Let this be the moment you declare with your whole heart that you refuse to walk through another day relying only on your own strength. Choose to walk with God. Choose to lean on God. Choose to surrender your plans, your battles, your doubts, your burdens, and your future into the hands of the one who already knows how your story unfolds. Choose to believe that God sees what you cannot see, knows what you do not know, and holds what you cannot control. And as you do, let a new courage rise within you. Let a deeper faith awaken. Let a calm confidence settle over you, knowing that you are not abandoned, not overlooked, not forgotten. God has been with you in every step, every tear, every sleepless night. God has carried you through storms you never told anyone about. God has held your heart through battles that left you trembling. And now God is calling you to rise, to stand, to walk forward with a renewed spirit, to trust Him with everything you are and everything you hope to become. Take this moment seriously. Examine your heart. Look at your life with honesty. Ask yourself what you need to release, what you need to change, what you need to surrender so God can move freely in your life. Let go of bitterness. Let go of fear. Let go of doubt. Let go of the belief that you must handle everything alone. Let your spirit step into alignment with God, because when you stand in that alignment, nothing can break you, nothing can steal your peace, and nothing can stop the help that God is already sending. And so I challenge you now, stand firm, breathe deeply, and lift your spirit toward God with boldness and sincerity. Call on Him with everything inside you. Trust Him with everything that weighs you down. Honor Him with every step you take from this moment on. Let your life be a testimony of what God can do with a willing heart, a surrendered spirit, and a faith that refuses to bow to fear. Walk forward knowing that God sees you, God hears you, God strengthens you, God lifts you, God protects you, and God, in His perfect wisdom and timing, sends help that transforms your life from the inside out. Let this truth settle into your soul, anchor your spirit, and ignite a fire within you that no struggle can extinguish. For when you hold on to God with your whole heart, you walk with a strength that cannot be shaken, a peace that cannot be stolen, and a hope that nothing in this world can take away.